We got to get to Carl. We got to get to my guy Barstool Carl. Happy opening day, man.
What's up? Can you guys hear me okay?
We're good. We're great. Yeah. How we feeling, man?
I'd be better if I didn't have to see Robbie Hummel before opening day. That guy haunted my dreams at the University of Illinois. Here comes Robbie Hummel, 27-15. Every time that dude came to Assembly Hall, he put a beating on my Illini. But we're off Robbie Hummel. We're on to the Chicago Cubs. I'm juiced up. I'm not trying to brag. I'm going to the game. So, yeah.
I'm that's awesome. Good for you. I mean, I'm super, super jealous. But what's the weather like up there? Are we going to be like, you got to be in your fucking stocking cap and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not cold, wet, and shitty, but it is cold and shitty. It's tailgate weather. And here's the other thing. We're coming out of we're going to be doing like big merch pushes. You were on the call. We're on the call. Everybody's on the call. We know what's going on at Barstool. And so this is the strongest layer I have. So I'm going to do 6 long sleeves, Under Armours, everything, and then drop the Barstool Chicago hoodie over it so that I get it out there. People see it. It's like, you know where to get it, you know?
Well, yeah, no, that looks fucking phenomenal. And the Cubs colors and everything, that's great. So that's dropping today?
Everything's in the store now. Everything's in the store now. There's so much shit. There's so much shit in the Barstool Chicago store. I can't. If we drop more stuff, they're like, we don't have enough pages for all your shit now. So it's just like a promo. It's like, so we'll be at this. That's what I'm saying. It's so cold outside. I'm gonna bear through it for promotional purposes. That's a company man thing. I'm just.
There you go. You get the old liquor coat, right? The Miller Lite coat, and you're good to go.
Yeah, those start at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard.
Right. So where are you hitting before? Now you're going to Wrigley. Where were we hitting in Wrigleyville?
Now listen to this. There's a Miller Lite shortage nationally. We drank too much of it during quarantine. I'm not joking. So I do have a thing set up with Miller Lite. The last place in Deuces and Diamonds is the last bar on Clark Street that has oodles of Miller Lite, or maybe Sluggers too, but they're not. So I'm going to be at Deuces and Diamonds at 11 a.m. handing out Miller Lights from like 11 to 12:45. We got the Miller Lite budget this morning. Come get some cold ones. Say hello to me. I'll be handing them out. Deuces and Diamonds.
I wish Deuces and Diamonds, Clark with Carl, oodles of Miller Lite. Fuck, man, I'm so mad. Like
I said oodles. I said oodles. Fuck. What are you doing for the game?
I'm probably. I mean, like maybe I'll go to like Fat Dan's or something around here. Like, I mean, that's it though. Like, I don't have. That's what Indy's 3. I could push it and probably get 3 hours to get up to Wrigleyville, but I couldn't get there by 11 a.m. To Deuces and Diamonds. So maybe I looked at it though, and I was like, this weekend maybe. I don't know. Like I gotta. Well, one, I got to get up there to the office with you guys since you guys are so close. But 2, with the Cubs back, I gotta fucking go. I gotta.
Oh man,
No. Okay. I need to know what are your sources telling you? Is Rizzo going to stay a Cub? Are we gonna have Anthony Rizzo forever, or what's going on?
My sources are close to this, guys. All right, my sources are very close to this Anthony Rizzo stuff. I'm gonna say he legitimately does not want to play anywhere else. Why would you? I mean, that's a logical thing. Everything here is here, and he's not a guy who wants to like go and post up in the American League for a couple of years and build new bonds. Like he's a Cub. He wants to retire a Cub, and he's not the guy who's going to like drag out his career and like, well, I still want to compete and play. It's like when he has that year where it's like, all right, dude, back's a little wobbly. This is actually like you're starting on. I think that's it for him. So I would say realistically, he stays as a Cub. The fan pushback to the Cubs has been as strong as anything I've ever seen. The fans unite about something. Pay the fucking guy. So, like, I think give it enough time, and the Cubs are going to be like, well, we screwed this one up.
I don't get behind a lot of like. I try to maybe submit the Hoosier in me. I try to just kind of lay low. I don't like to like get into a lot of like movements or cause a ruckus. But I will cause a ruckus for Anthony Rizzo, and I will do it until the Cubs fucking make a Vito Corleone. Either your brains or your signature is going to be on that contract. Like I will do that because there is no other place. Like, what do you give to the shit that like he'd be interested in going home to Miami to play for the fucking Marlins.
No, dude, that's rat stuff. That is not true. Like, he just wants to be in Chicago. He likes Chicago. He's a Chicago guy. Like, there's nothing about Rizzo that says he wants to take a bag of money and go play somewhere else because he's well paid. He's just like a regular blue collar dude, and he doesn't want to get fucked though. And he thinks I think he thinks beyond all this, the money aside, it's just generally unfair that Paul Goldschmidt gets paid $130 million for 5 years. And he's like, hey, I'm not Paul Goldschmidt. I don't want 130, but I'm not, chopped liver over here. Like, I'm one of the best first basemen in the world, and I should be paid what that is, what that's worth. And it's not $14 million a year.
How much do you think, the nostalgia of it, and because I even tweeted out the Cubs, he caught the ball, man. He was he was the centerpiece on the World Series team. How much do you think the nostalgia of that weighs into we just got to get it done as compared to like maybe it wouldn't be the best, financially and for the future of the club, but at the same time, I feel like you got to kind of put that to the side and just say this man is a historical figure for this franchise and for this team. You got to keep him.
Dude, it's okay. So the first thing though is like they're in such a tough spot because Jed Hoyer's this is like his first year as is like the guy calling all the shots, not the GM, but the guy calling all the shots. And like he can't be Anthony Rizzo's bitch his first year. It's like you go into prison, you got to beat up the toughest dude. Like he's got to lowball Rizzo. He's got to figure out how to get Rizzo team friendly. And right. Maybe there's some pressure with Jed Hoyer to kind of be like, yeah, I figured I negotiated with Anthony Rizzo. Where I think maybe a more senior GM with a better long-standing relationship around a team would just be like, hey, here's a situation with this guy. Just cut this guy the check. The fans will go nut. Like, otherwise, this will be a disaster. Like, the Cubs are so siloed and segmented that, like, I don't know if Jed really gives a fuck if the fans are upset about the Anthony Rizzo contract because it's not Jed's job and they don't ask Jed to care about that stuff. That's somebody else's job. And so, just like the fact that Jed is in his first year and he's trying to pull his kind of throws us for, a little bit of a loop here. And then the other factors working against us is like, he had a bad season, 58 games last year, but it was 58 games. If he had 222 through the first 58 games this season, you know what everyone would say? Just 58 games. There's 162. Wait,
Right. You'd be in the end of May and nobody would give a shit, right? I mean,
they totally missed and whiffed on how much fans and where we put Rizzo. It's like, no, Rizzo's our guy. He's number one. Like, that's our number one guy. Like, I love Javy to death. Javy's my number two guy. I love Javy to death. He's my number two guy. Like, Rizzo's been here longer. He's done it more. He's just the guy. And so if we have to bring in these new crop of young dudes and we're going to bring in a Jock Peterson, I want Jock Peterson to be able to talk to Anthony Rizzo. And guess what? Jock Peterson won't be here next year. There's going to be another Jock Peterson. And there's going to be more of these Jock Peterson types that are established big leaguers looking to, take the next step in their career that aren't bona fide free agents. There's going to be prospects that come up. There's going to be fucking the bums in September that come up who are 20th round draft picks that are trying to find their way and maybe get a couple of bats. You're going to have huge prospects like Brennan Davis. And you know who I want there? I want Anthony Rizzo there. Cut the man a check.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just like, that makes sense though, right?
It absolutely makes sense. I couldn't agree. There's nothing in the world that I agree more with than what you just said. Now, with that being said, is Javy, is KB? I mean, what are they going to be here? Or is it all in on Rizzo and whatever else happens? Fuck those.
I think you have to start with Rizzo 1 and then you figure out Javy 2. And then, like, Chris Bryant is as much as I would love Chris Bryant to have been a Cub for life, like, they didn't manage that appropriately. And he's going to want to change the scenery. Like, you just know that for a fact. Like, that guy all he wants to do is just go play baseball and hit and play third base. And he dates the same girl from high school. He wants to go out in the parking lot and get in the car with his wife and drive home and stop at Chili's and pick. Like, the dude's life hasn't changed since he was 16 years old. He doesn't want to be in the middle of the circus where people are like, are you going to get traded? What's your arbitration value? All that stuff. He's like, dude, I don't know. All I ever have done is hit with my dad, and I hit home runs really far. Like,
that was really good. impression.
Thank you. I've spent some time with him, and I didn't even, dude. It just subconsciously, I just did an impression in front of the impression master. I need to take a laugh. What am I doing?
Oh, that was fucking money, dude. That was a great Chris Bryant. It was.
I honestly feel like I just threw a fastball to Sammy Sosa. All right, let me take a step back. So I think KB's in a tough spot. I think KB's in a tough spot, and I think for reasons outside of everybody's control, it's probably best he moves on. It's probably best. Like, I would love it if he stayed, but like, I think Boris is probably like, yo, dude, LA would love to have you. Or like, there's places we can just throw you around. They're going to pay you. The fans don't really give a shit. You can go put up your numbers. It's not. Rizzo's handled the circus so well comparatively, where he's just like this, like dumb pretty boy who's like, hey, yeah, I'm Anthony Rizzo. Like, eat a Rick and Betty sandwich. Come check me out. I'm in the neighborhood. Like that. That's the difference between him and KB, where KB's more like, he's just KB's like, I don't know. I'm Chris Bryant. Like, I'm quiet. And then Javy, you just got to keep him. He sells so many jerseys, an international superstar. Every single kid in the prospects in minor leagues and every kid you're going to be signing is going to be like, dude, that's Javy's team. And like, that's how I can, and like, to have that guy, that face, the swaggiest of the swaggiest players at a time when that shit matters is like, dude, cut that guy a check too. I don't give a fuck if he hits 230 this year. Cut him a check.
Because he's gonna hit 230 and he's gonna fucking make it look awesome doing it. And so
yeah.
And
I have on good authority the Cubs will have more ground balls than any other team in National League this year. And it's like Javy porn is coming your way because Hendricks, Davies, Mills, Trevor Williams, Arrieta, these are guys that literally have to use the bottom of the strike zone to succeed. They're not going to be big strikeout guys. And so expect Javy Baez to have maybe a 40% increase this year in holy shit moments. Like, you're going to be like at least there's going to be so much action for him. So hopefully he stays healthy.
So that's good for him. That's good for us. That's good for merch. That's good for all of it. Arrieta, Arrieta. Yeah. He from what I saw, he looked good in spring training, man. What you think he's going to have a Jake Arrieta Cubs type of year, or is he done?
I mean, we get the spring training numbers are there: 17 2/3, 16 strikeouts, a 4.08 ERA. Just the very top line numbers before you look at peripherals, which I wouldn't do for spring training. But if he did that this season, he's great and he's serviceable. Yeah, I'm interested to see what baseball has done with the balls this year.
Yeah,
and that's a weird thing to be interested in, but that's the shit that'll matter to a guy like Jake. If they have home run balls or have expanded from where the home run balls were last year, where they're like plastic, a little bit harder, and they just changed them a little bit. I thought that I read, though, that they were going to try and lessen it, that the balls were going to be like 5% as effective as they were last year, which could mean a huge difference to not just a guy like Arrieta, the entire Cubs pitching staff, but Jake at this point in his career, he's totally evolved. Pitch to contact, a lot of sweeping two-seamers you're going to see to right-handed hitters, and a lot of maybe more sweeping, sliders, and just it's going to look like the same old Jake. It's going to be about 3 miles to 4 miles an hour slower, and it's probably going to have a little bit more break, like the men's league. Like you see, oh, that's a guy from high school, and then you see him a couple years later in men's league, and it's like, oh, he's got a little more drop on the curve, not as much velocity. I think with everybody too, with Jake, it's just manage expectations because I love him and he deserves everybody's respect. So even if he has those games where he shits the bed, it's like, it's Jake Arrieta. Show some fucking respect. He came home,
Absolutely. Okay, so looking ahead, grand picture of 2021. Let's get Rizzo back. Let's get Baez back.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to surprise people? Are we? What are your expectations? What are your predictions for this year?
What do you want me to say?
I want the truth. Actually, I want both. I want baseball analyst Carl, and then I want Cubs fan Carl.
All right. Cubs fan Carl is
start with the other one. Go. No, okay. Go. Baseball analyst first, and then Cubs fan, because in my head I'm thinking that it's going to be bad news, good news, but maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's good news, bad news.
I think Cubs fan is the negative one. So I'm going to be negative first.
Oh, all right.
So I'm going to be negative first. Can't sign Rizzo. Theo's gone. Len Casper went to the South Side. Kyle Schwarber, is over to the Nationals. John Lester walks. We look like complete dogs. throughout the entire offseason. Our heads are down. We got our dick smashed in by the Miami Marlins. Like, we're coming off a weird 60-game season. Like, we really don't have any pride. And the last time we played a full season, we blew it in September. And the fucking time before that, we blew it in September. For all intents and purposes, going into this season, we have like fresh skeletons in the closet. We have new scar tissue and stuff that we're working through. And as a Cubs fan, I feel like Randy Quaid from Major League stay in the outfield. Like, we fucking suck, and just filled with angst and hatred. His was much more warranted than mine is, but there's just been so much challenge. How about firing Joe Madden? Won a World Series, shit like that. You know, like, there's so much recent baggage that when you come into the season, it's easy to be like, as a Cubs fan, just like, the fuck, we can't even sign Rizzo now? Like, God, Ricketts. Like, people are like, Ricketts, sell the team. So as a Cubs fan, I'm like, you guys are kind of ruining this right now, and I would like you guys to get it together, because this is important to me, and I did not expect that it would be like abruptly taken from me. You know, It was like, I'll have years of going up there, Baez to Rizzo, and, you know, then they're going to build a farm. Nope. Looks like they're going to just do another rebuild. So that's Cubs fans. Like, what are you assholes doing? Baseball analysts, love the starting pitching this year. Really do. Durability, depth, guys that can go out there, pitch to contact, the type of guys that if you pitch these guys over 10 games, you're probably going to get 6 quality starts. Can the bats win you a 7th game in there? Can you win? And you're not even asking to win 60% of your games, because then at that point you're winning 100 games and you're first place in division. I think realistically, the starting pitching is good enough to hang around. The bullpen is really questionable. There's a lot of guys that are around the age 30 to 33 that are in that bullpen that were big prospect names that came out of college or came in like the drafts from 2009 to 2012 that are kind of still lingering around that might have great seasons. And is Shelby Miller type of guy, like, is he have a resurgence? And it feels like the Cubs historically have not landed on any of these like rebuilding bullpen arms. And you'll turn on a Twins game and it's like, oh, remember that guy? It's like, holy shit, that guy just – how the fuck they do that? We never get those guys. Is this a year we can get a couple of those guys? Because there's a lot of them in the mix at the back of the bullpen, and nobody's talking about the pitching. The reason nobody's talking about as an importance, when really to me the offense and all this stuff's a guarantee. It's a guarantee they're going to score runs. You have Happ, Jock Peterson, you've got Anthony Rizzo, you've got Javy Baez, Chris Bryant coming off of bad springs in contract years. Nobody says anything about Wilson Contreras. So I mean, there's just tons of reasons.
I know that. I feel like we strike out a shit ton.
Oh, I mean, immensely, and that's hitting philosophies. It's also the fact, though. I mean, we do see some pretty good fucking pitching. I mean, that's the pitching. Just it is what it is. The last lineups. I mean, Ian Happ is unfortunately like he's a strikeout power guy. Schwarber, strikeout power guy. Baez, strikeout power guy. You know, there really isn't anybody in the lineup except Rizzo who doesn't strike out. You know, Hayward.
What about Nico when he's back?
Nah, Nico got fucked, man.
Yeah.
Nico got railed. Does that bother you that like they do that to Nico?
I mean, I just like, yeah, it does. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's an indictment on the fucking franchise. You know, it's like, oh well, if you're a prospect in this franchise and you're coming up, and then we have this opportunity to fucking send you down to the minors, you know, for a little bit, then they're gonna do it, and then it's gonna rub the guys the wrong way. I mean, that's how I look at it.
It's not cool. It's not a cool story.
No,
it's not cool. And people I like hearing about companies that treat their employees well. Like if there's a story in the Wall Street Journal about like, wait till you hear what this, you know, energy firm in Idaho is doing for their employees. I'll fucking soak that shit up. Oh, wow, that's innovative. Now, conversely, what if somebody tells you about oh, I work for this boss. Oh, I work for these people. Oh, this company does this for me. That's salacious. People are like, no, you have to get out of there. You can't work there. You don't let anybody talk to you like that. And so, like the way we personally interact with our friends, family, each other, publicly about work environments, workplaces, personal pride, rights, all this stuff. And then it's like, you look at how the Cubs treat a guy like Nico Horner. You guys drafted him in the first round. I mean, you're sending a signal to this guy like, we want you, you're important, you're it. And then he goes to spring training and he's the second best hitter in spring training. And they're like, no, we need you to, no, you're manipulating service time, and it is what it is. And the problem with the Cubs is they don't think that it impacts the relationship with the player. And they're fucking idiots for thinking that. Because in all material cases, Chris Bryant, one of the dumbest things you could have done with that relationship, Rizzo on this extension. It's disgusting. They took Ian Happ to court for $900,000.
Is that come from the Rick? Is that just the Ricketts, or is it Jed, or who is it?
It's like Jed's first year, remember? So it's like maybe it's Jed. Going to arbitration was stupid against Ian Happ.
Yeah.
Stupid. You don't go to arbitration. You settle that shit out of court. You don't actually go to the arbitrator. That never happens.
Especially when it's splitting hairs like that, man.
Oh, yeah, and he's good.
He was the best player on the team last year.
Right. So they're just I think it's a Ricketts. I think it's also a business model thing. I just don't think they have the cash right now. Like, I honestly think they fired so many people from the front office last year, which is sad. And not front office, from the business side, and W-2 employees, people that go in there and collect paychecks and get health insurance, and they're just like, hey, we don't have money for you. And
But how does that happen? I'm trying to figure out how that happened. They're
It's
rid
like
of the stuff. They got everybody coming all the time. They're fucking got TV deals. How do they not have money?
They used a ton of debt to buy the Cubs. They're paying off a bank loan. The bank loan's in the $800 million. That has interest through the roof, and they have financed that through game day operations and all that. So, like, the fact they have no ticket revenue, no gate revenue, no concessions revenue, no merch revenue, none of that stuff, they have to go into now. The Ricketts family is plenty wealthy enough to move their assets around, reshuffle the deck, and take a little bit more of a personal bath. They're not willing to do that. I mean, and alternatively, the Ricketts family just partnered with Penny Pritzker, who's the sister of Javy Pritzker, who's connected. Well, obviously, the Cubs have connections through their front office and executive team to like big names.
Uh-huh.
And the Cubs have historically, or in Ricketts' time, have been painted as this like conservative, it's the Ricketts family. Show Ricketts, it's conservative. And like a month or two ago, it just it was announced in Chicago that the Ricketts family is partnering with the Pritzker family, who's like the complete opposite of conservative. They're partnering with the Pritzker family for like some real estate development in North Lawndale, which is a neighborhood west of UIC on the south part of the city. And it's like an urban space. My point is, what the fuck does that have to do with the Chicago Cubs? And if the Ricketts family came to Chicago and you have all these issues that are going on with the Cubs and the team, what we care about, what like everybody cares about, like go fix. I don't want to open up the Chicago Tribune and see, they're bidding on 86,000 square foot mixed use urban retail facility, that is, has public good. And you're like, no, dude, wait a second.
You got to sign
we have to work on the Cubs right now. And so I think that's the really frustrating part is that they're still going about their business, like nothing like that hasn't changed,
You feel like because it happened so quickly and because they did the thing and then they got to the World Series and they won the World Series that they're like, I mean, at the end of the day, how bad can we really be because we fucking did the thing and now we just can do our other ventures?
I don't know if it was that intentionally malicious, but it was definitely like, you hit the big sale at work and it's like, all right, well, I'm a partner. Like I'm walking around like I already did the shit I had to do. So like now I'm going to go play a little bit more golf. Right. I'm going to go fuck around a little bit more. And I think, the other thing though is like Theo hit it out of the park with those 2015 and 16 rosters. And, there's like no coming back from that. Like not bringing back Dexter Fowler, crazy. Jorge Soler for Wade Davis, crazy. We won it because we traded for Chapman, but like Gleyber Torres is a perennial all-star. So there's just like a lot of movement and shit that happened in there that kind of set us up for this. That I think kind of gets overlooked a little bit. Yeah. That's part of the trade-off for the World Series. But the Ricketts, to me, it's like the Ricketts family could do. I think from what I know, based on public information and based on being around the team and covering it, so to say, covering it, that the Ricketts family could do more to keep the Cubs intact short term and bridge a gap to when we're out of COVID. But I don't think they want to, because that would be against their business. Like that would be against their, like how they run the business, how they set the Cubs up. When they said, we're going to buy the Cubs, this is how we're going to run the Cubs. I bet the old man was like, yo, don't fucking come to me 10 years from now asking for money. You guys want to buy this? Run this. So now they're running it, and they like, Tom's not going to go to dad and be like, hey, can you liquidate, 5% of our holdings in TD Ameritrade, because I got to double down on payroll here, whatever, 2%. The dad's probably like, yeah, this is your problem. Deal with it. Because it is very much a father-son, dad dynamic, which is crazy to think about. Crazy. Like,
yeah, just a different world. Like, totally different fucking world,
But listen, it's opening day. I'm sorry. It's opening day.
True.
Season projections, 87 wins. I like Anthony Rizzo to hit 36 home runs. I like Javy Baez to win a Gold Glove. I like Ian Happ to cement himself as a dynamic leadoff hitter, not just center fielder, like a dynamic leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
Big season.
All right.